Alright, so I want to narrate this video. I have not narrated any videos up till now, so it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes. So this is my town that I've been working on. I started it by building some mountains, and then dropping down the actual map and adding some water. So we've got a town that has various different mountainous areas around the edges of the town. And then right in the middle of the town, there's a body of water. And it kind of cuts through all the mountains. And I've built like a boardwalk. And you can see that in some of my other videos a little bit more clearly. This video doesn't really showcase the boardwalk area at all. So I built a boardwalk, and there's kind of like a castle that I rehabbed into a bar and a pool lounge, and it's got a museum on the first floor. And so that's kind of like the center of the town, is that other castle. And then from that castle, you can walk across this little bridge to get over to this corner of the lot, which has a school that I built in my previous video. And then I've got this castle. So the idea is I really wanted to create this big spooky castle, which was always here. Like, it was here before the town was here, as well as the other gray castle you're kind of seeing on the screen. And that, like I said, was the kind of center of the town. And then this one, I wanted to first make the big spooky castle, right? And then from there, I wanted to split it up into like luxury apartments. So here where I live in Kansas City, there's a couple of different neighborhoods that have, I like to call them midtown castles. They're really just houses, but they're very big. They look kind of unassuming on the outside, very big on the inside. And a lot of these, what I refer to as midtown castles, have been converted into like multiple apartments. So that's kind of what the idea was with this. It takes me kind of a while to get there. Right now, what I'm trying to do is make this accessible to the parafolk. So the actual boardwalk and the center of town and all of that, it doesn't actually connect to this area just yet. So there's no way at this point in the build that a parafolk could actually get to this big castle. So what my original thought was I was going to do like a platform at the bottom, platform at the top, connect it with a set of stairs. And that didn't end up working out because I just couldn't get it to work. So I opted to kind of put some platforms in like halfway up the mountain, and then just kind of keep trying with it until I eventually got a staircase that actually went all the way up. And that kind of took me a little bit. And what ends up happening is that this castle has this kind of huge entrance area. Takes me a while to kind of get that to a place where I actually don't hate it. But, you know, functionality. So I want to be able to there's my Fanny Mem. That's my NB baddie over here, who is kind of my little play tester for everything in this town. poor Fanny Mem has not actually had any real play time. Not played with them. I've just been utilizing them to help me to make sure that, things are functional. So, does this bed work? Can you get to it? Does the bathroom work? Is the shower big enough? That kind of stuff. So Fanny is really helping me out with my functionality. And one of these days, maybe when my town is done, I'll have some playtime with Fanny Mem. But I kind of thought Fanny Mem is basically the like the groundskeeper of this place. They live above the general store, and they're basically everybody's person in this small little town that they would go to for, oh, I got something broke in my kitchen, can you be my repair person? That was kind of my idea for Fanny Mem. They are the only person right now who lives in this town, or only para, as it were. So I'm getting through here, this entrance area, and you'll notice on this castle that I put a lot of these big structural beams. I just feel like I want it to be, it's not realistic per se, but I did want it to have some kind of like structural validity. So I went ahead and gave all these columns anywhere where I felt like there was a platform that wouldn't just physically be able to just float there like it is. So that's kind of part of this. I love these medieval objects. I think I went on kind of Steam Workshop, like everything that you could find that even is somewhat medieval, and I got all those mods. Because I definitely knew from the moment I started this little town that I was going to have some castles. The school, I wasn't really expecting to build that, but when I did, man, I just had a blast building that school. Yeah, I love this game. I really, really do. Even if it were to just stay at this level with the building and how much fun I've been having with the building. Like, I can get into live mode or live mode or however you want to say it. I can get into it, but it's not really the main appeal for me when kind of playing a game like this. Like, I love making my own little worlds. And that's kind of the main appeal for me in a game like this. So, we're getting into, like I said, I want to convert this into apartments, right? So the part of the structure that's on the left that's going across the landscape, peak, plateau, mountain, whatever you want to call it, that's its own apartment. So that whole big long hallway, both stories of that's one apartment. And then this square, not quite square, but this part of the castle in the corner here, I wanted to split that up. So that's actually 3 stories, whereas this other side that you're looking at now, that's only 2 stories. So the 3-story aspect, these are going to be 2 separate little spaces, luxury homes. And I haven't fully decided like exactly what I'm doing with those. Like, I love the third one that I actually put some time into decorating in this video. I love that one, and the view from in there is great for the rest of the town, because it just towers over everything. So I love that. But then the other 2 apartments, they're kind of, they're smaller, but they're 3 stories. But because I wanted to keep like the stairs as a part of each individual apartment instead of having like a shared staircase, that did end up taking quite a bit of space in the 2 apartments in this main part of the castle. So I have built those. They each have, by the time we get to the end of this video, they'll each have their own entrance. And like I said, the one long skinny part does have, by the end of the video, a kitchen and a bathroom and a bedroom. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you have any ideas. I kind of think it could be fun to really make this like quite opulent. Like, it really is reminiscent to me of like a luxury loft apartment. Another thing here that in my city, in Kansas City, we have is this area of town called the West Bottoms. And in the West Bottoms, like, history of Kansas City, there was like a huge cattle trade here back in the 1800s and the early 1900s. And so we have this huge like cattle trading area, and it had a lot of like big tall brick buildings and very industrial kind of area that, we don't really do that in Kansas City anymore. There's not like a large cattle trade or anything like that in the city proper. So those buildings and that area was kind of converted into a lot of loft apartments. And they also use those buildings, those old industrial buildings, as haunted houses, which is pretty cool. Kind of. I mean, it's a little creepy, but in a good way. But anyway, so I knew some folks that lived in the West Bottoms some years ago, and it's just really cool aesthetic. Like, you've got this really rustic, creepy old building, but then you have a modern kitchen in it, and I really liked that, and it kind of inspired me. And I also wanted to tie in, so I put this wishing well that's from Debug, and I really wanted to kind of have some lore for my little town, and I kind of like the idea that, this was an ancient castle town. Like, maybe there was a noble family that lived here or something. And then, fast forward to the modern day, it's been rehabbed to be, a space with modern things in it, but we maintained that kind of ancient relic and we just rehabbed it into our town. So that's kind of my lore that I have in mind for this whole thing. And so that's why I have the well in this tower of the castle, because I kind of like the idea of, there was a well in the castle tower, but whoever took over the castle and decided to convert it into apartments, kind of kept that well in to maintain that historic charm or whatever. And so it kind of becomes the centerpiece of the kitchen. So I really like this kitchen. It's a little like funky, little medieval, little modern. And I like to imagine that, the para that lives here is like a young professional baddie. Maybe it's a couple, and they really just lucked out and got this amazing space. And that's kind of what I'm picturing. It's like they've got a cool style. Maybe they're a little gothic, and that really reflects in the space. This kind of is directly inspired by that loft apartment that I was telling you about. So the person that I knew was living in a loft at the very top of this building that was a haunted house at one time. And then the owner of the haunted house actually fell down the elevator shaft, or something to do with the elevator cords. Anyway, they passed away. And yeah, just like being in that loft, I mean, it's just like you can feel the creepiness, the history in the space. And so that's kind of a direct inspiration for what I was thinking when I was making this castle. So as far as these two apartments over here, I do want this to kind of be a shared entryway, and it kind of takes me a while to figure out exactly what I'm trying to do with this little space. And like I said, I still haven't even gotten into the actual design and layout of those two apartments. In this video, we really just focus on the long, skinny one that goes across the top of the mountain. And I'll tell you, this part right here, I'm kind of having to go back and retrace my steps because, unfortunately, I'm not very good with planning. I'm more of a shoot from the hip type of gal. So when I was making these towers at first, I wasn't really paying attention to the fact that I was building the walls, but it wasn't actually making a room. So I had to go back and fix that because this is going to be the kitchen. And then on the other side of the rugs, I've got two rugs and like a runner rug in between. So on the other side of that rug, we got the little dining room space, right? And then up above on the second story, I have the bedroom and the bathroom. And then I actually did go in, and there is a third story room to this castle. Hi, Fanny. Checking out my stairs, making sure they work. Fanny is the best. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So I'm struggling to decide how I really want those spaces to look. You know, I've got all these other spaces on the long, skinny part. That's what I work on in this video primarily. But I do think that there's just so much potential to these other two spaces, and I haven't quite nailed down exactly what I want to do with them, but I do think the potential is there for something pretty cool. I just haven't quite gotten to that point yet. I will be honest with you, after I filmed all of this stuff with this castle, I kind of had to take a break from it. I took a break. I worked on some other just regular housing in the town. So I built like 3 houses on the other side of town that are connected to that boardwalk. I had to take a break from this. I love this. It's kind of a big endeavor. Every time, you know, I add a little piece jutting out, you see there, I go in and add a column so that it seems more structurally feasible. So yeah, it takes me a bit, and you know, I'm hoping that by editing this video, narrating it, and going back and watching it a couple more times, I'm hoping that kind of gets me inspired to really finish the castle part of it. The other aspects of the town, like, I have finished those. Like the school, I did it. From start to finish, I did it, which for me is kind of tough because I'm not, I have ADD really bad. And so I can struggle to finish things. So maybe by editing this video together and creating some narration for it, I'm kind of maybe opening up Pandora's box again for myself with this castle, because after I made the the kitchen, the dining room space, and the bedroom space and the bathroom, I was like, I lost inspiration. I didn't know exactly, what I wanted to do with it. So I decided to give myself a little breather. So we'll see. I think that I love to I love to imagine the actual paras that I want to place in here. I don't know much about like the mechanics of the game, as far as like, do I need to go make individual paras for this town? Can I put in the paras that already exist that are in the starter town that the developers made? So I haven't quite gotten to that point. I also have to figure out the whole changing the venue types, because right now all of these lots are residential lots, but that's just because I'm not super smart or good at mods. I've never used mods prior to Paralives. I never got mods on Sims 4. And so this is just new territory for me. I'm still learning. And of course, it's just like a passion project for me. I have a full-time job. And, I didn't even know that this type of content where somebody just talks and builds things in a life sim game, I didn't know that content was a thing until, I want to say, I got The Sims for probably, it's 2026, so I probably got The Sims 4 a couple of years ago. I was really resistant to ever download The Sims 4. I loved The Sims 3, loved it, played it for 1,000 hours at least, and probably significantly more than that. And I had gotten a new laptop or whatever, and it could not play The Sims 3. I was so frustrated. I could not get the game to run on this new laptop I bought. And this was back in 2024, and I had always been resistant to Sims 4. So I got Sims 4 in 2024, and I started playing it. I got myself a couple of little expansion packs or whatever. And, I found out about the content that people make. Man, and I just thought, this is so cool. This is up my alley 100%. This is what I like doing. But then, the whole buyout happened, and found out about that the day after my birthday last year, because that's when it happened. And then, of course, now the buyout has gone through. And, I think the original thing that had made me so mad was that I had put all of this money into The Sims 3 over the years, and then, of course, I couldn't get a computer to actually run the game, so that was so frustrating, and I didn't want to repeat that same sadness with Sims 4, but of course I did. I did end up buying, a bunch of expansion packs and whatever else, and I like building in that game too, but, it's like morally, I already, have a lot of just ethical problems with everything that's going on in the world right now. So it felt like a real, of course that happened moment whenever they did the buyout. And I got so excited for this game coming out. I thought, man, I can't believe how bad The Sims 4 is. I never wanted to play it, then I did finally play it, and I was so frustrated with, I tried to do like a legacy game, and I don't know. I mean, the building of stuff is great. I love building. I made an eggplant shaped bowling alley. in my very veggie game. But yeah, I don't know. This game has less features, less live mode, less objects, and it's way more bugs, and it's still 100% better to me. I mean, I still have some for, obviously I put money in the game, but I'll never put any more money in the game. So I'm really trying to make the most out of this game and really get the most enjoyment that I can get, because with my job and everything that I do in my real life, it can be sometimes quite oppressive. I'm sure you could probably relate if you live in the United States. We don't really have a lot of freedom, in my opinion. It's just work, and go home. And, unless you're rich, I don't really see a lot of people that I know. Nobody I know is doing a whole lot outside of that. Work and go home. So the fact that I was able to get this, I had to buy a new computer to play this game. And my brother helped me find like the cheapest gaming computer that we could find, and I had to put it on my credit card. Like, I'm a broke baddie over here, but I've already gotten so much enjoyment out of the money that I spent, like money well spent. And I kind of was talking to my brother, and I was like, well, maybe if I can make content about this game, then I could make back the money I spent on this computer, which is kind of my hope, ultimately. I love building, and I almost went into that as a career field because I loved building in The Sims 3 so much, and I thought, well, maybe I could get into MCAD and get into architectural engineering. And so I actually did try to pursue that as a college major for a time. I did not find that I'm not a very engineer-minded person, and I got like hung up on this technical writing class, which, considering what I do now, it's so funny that I was hung up on that. But anyway, so yeah, it turns out that the but architectural engineering, not really my thing. Despite the fact that I was really excited about it at the time, I realized that what I was most excited about was basically what we're looking at here. So anyway, that's it for this video. Hang on just a second, and I will show you my face. Okay, so we're going to end it there. I have to go to work. If you stayed for the video, thanks. I'm new to this, but I probably will keep making stuff because I'm having a blast. And I hope you enjoyed it too. If you have some tips for me on, anything, feel free to leave me some comments. Even if you want to leave hate comments, it's engagement. Ultimately, I'm down. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.